The Lions drop a critical game in Minnesota, and they gave me an aneurysm. Let's talk about the game.
Elbow, forearm, he's going to be down.
The result of the play is a touchdown.
And then the flag that was thrown on this was picked up.
I don't know, did it get the face mask?
So by rule, the game is over.
The Lions hangover.
All right, so the Lions drop a critical game in Minnesota, losing 28-24. After both teams stalled out on their first drives, the Lions received the ball. Always drives me nuts to begin the game, but I think it was out of their control. It's been out of their control all season so far. But both teams started off missing field goals. Neither kicker was on their game today. And then on the second drive, the Lions decide from that point forward, they were just going to start going for it on fourth down, and they were mostly successful throughout the entire day. St. Brown had a huge conversion, and then Williams runs it in for his third rushing touchdown of the season. That gave the Lions a 7-0 lead. And then they were able to stop Minnesota once again. And then on the next drive, Hockenson gets his first touchdown of the season. I think it's his first touchdown of the season. Anyway, it was nice to see him get involved early. I feel like he disappears in the second half of the game. But the first half of the game, I believe he had a few catches, and one of them was a critical touchdown. So the Lions go up 14-0. Now, there were... I don't know how to say this, because at this point you begin to see a trend, and I have to call out our Amani Oruwariye. And I think he had something like 5 penalties, some of which were picked up. The flags were picked up, but he was awful today. He was horrible today. I feel like I would cut him right now. Like, he pretty much handed Minnesota the game. There were such key moments that he was like, you know what, here's a free first down. It just kept Minnesota alive and going. If he had not played, I'm totally putting all of the blame on him right now. If he had not played, it would have been a different game. I'm convinced of that. Minnesota starts to make a comeback. Adam Thielen scores a touchdown. It ends up being 14-14 at the half. But when they come back from the half, they show something that Charles Harris did, which I thought was kind of funny. It was kind of dirty too, I'm not going to lie, but since it was in our favor, I did laugh at it. He did this sneaky, let's slap the ball out of the center's hands, and it sort of ran the last few seconds off the clock, and Minnesota was not able to try to score before the half. It was pretty impressive because it was like a no-look swipe. If you weren't looking for it, you probably would not have caught it. But yeah, the TV camera saw it, and they showed it to us after the half. So if you got to watch, that was actually pretty cool. Kind of funny, a little bit dirty, not going to lie. So second half, I don't even know where to begin because my brain is so jumbled after experiencing this whole game. And it was an experience. So I'm just going off of my notes here. Minnesota had another missed field goal, and the Lions are able to capitalize on this. This is coming out of the half. And Jamal Williams scored a touchdown. And then he got called for unsportsmanlike conduct for a regular touchdown celebration. Maybe he had 1, 2, 3, 4 too many hip thrusts, but there were only 4 hip thrusts in total. It was ridiculous, and it was kind of pointless, and it was so the kick was moved back an extra 5-10 yards. Like, what's the point of that? Anyway, I don't even know why I'm talking about it because it's so pointless. I just thought it was funny that they called it. And then finally, the first turnover of the game, Dalvin Cook runs into his own guy and then drops the ball and is subsequently injured on the play, but he looked fine the rest of the game. So I just feel like he suffered from a severe case of embarrassment. And he was like, I'm out. I got injured. That's why I dropped the ball. Anyway, Madison takes over, and he grabs a rushing touchdown with 7:50 remaining in the fourth. The Lions are currently winning 24-21 at that point because Seibert did connect with one field goal today. It wasn't, I think it was like a 40-yarder he made. Both kickers really did struggle today. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I believe I said it, he did come up with a few critical key first downs for us to keep the drives going. And then the Lions, who went for it on almost every single fourth down, they were stopped at the Vikings 32. Should they have gone for field goal at this point? It's hard to say. Hindsight usually gives you the clearest vision. I'm not against them going for it, but at the same time, if you have a chance to get some points, you should probably take the points. But with as inconsistent as both kickers were today, maybe they're in a dome. I don't know what's happening, but it seemed like a very difficult place to play at today for the kickers. So maybe they should have just continued to go for it on fourth down. Then, let's see, a couple more drives. The Lions get a key defensive holding call against Minnesota, giving them the first down with 2:24 remaining. And at this point, you're like, yes, the Lions should be able to wrap this up because Minnesota's out of timeouts, right? So fast forward a couple plays, Lions facing fourth down again, right? They need at least a first down, or they can try and kick a field goal. They miss another field goal. Seibert was 1 of 3 today. The Vikings kicker was 0 for 2. Nobody can make field goal. I know this is like the sub story. There was Oruwariye, and then there was field goal kickers after that. That's like the headlines. Like Oruwariye just lost the game for us, and then the kickers Seibert could have won the game for us. But that's besides the point. Defense still has to step it up. And Minnesota gets the ball back, and Kirk Cousins hits a wide open KJ Osborne, Detroit native, and they get the go-ahead touchdown. They are winning 28-24. And then Goff, who was almost perfect all day. I loved everything from Goff today. He was accurate. Even if it was not a completed pass, it was within the wheelhouse of the receiver. And nothing was too crazy. Maybe a couple overthrown balls, maybe a couple passes that were a little bit behind the receivers, but it was nothing absurd. It was like exactly how you want Goff to play. I feel like he had an excellent game today. He did throw an interception on the 5-yard line, which pretty much ruined it, ended the game. But I don't blame Goff at all. You need to be aggressive at that point, and with that much time left, it's win it or go home. So I have no problem with him making that throw. I have no problem with it being picked off. Of course, I wish it worked out the other way, but ultimately you needed to be aggressive. I want to say I'm a little bit surprised at how aggressive the Lions were on fourth down, but I feel like the Vikings were just as aggressive on fourth down. It seemed like they both knew that their kickers couldn't come through. And then it seems like when the Lions should have went for it on fourth down, they didn't, and then that's when Seibert got the last missed field goal, which pretty much put the ball in the back of the hands of Minnesota to drive down and score. The Vikings were very beatable. Very beatable. They didn't do anything that makes me think that the Lions couldn't hang with them, and I think it'll be a different game when they come to Detroit later on in the season. But Oruwariye, that it's just 5 penalties against one man. I think we were penalized 7, maybe 8 times, and 5 of them were against him. Like I said, some of those were declined because they resulted in a first down anyway, or even a touchdown. I don't think any resulted in a touchdown, but regardless, it was horrible, horrible play. And I don't even think his tackling was on par. It was just a crap game. And it is kind of a bit of the same old Lions because they found a way to lose. And I hate to say that, but these are games they need to win. This is the game they need to win to prove that they're not the same old Lions. Throughout the course of the game, the storyline changes, and it's like when you're winning or you're in a position to win, you've got to hang on to the lead. Your defense has to step up. Aiden Hutchinson today was quiet. I don't even think he's on the score sheet. He didn't record a single tackle. I did see him get a little bit of pressure, QB pressure, which was good. And I know there's things he's doing that creates opportunities for other players on the team. But if you're going to be the guy, you need to break through that offensive line and start getting to the ball carrier. You need to start getting to the quarterback. You need to start getting pressure more often. So it was another quiet game by Hutchinson, which kind of is surprising because Kirk Cousins is not a mobile quarterback. I know Hutchinson was dealing with a Charlie horse type injury throughout the week, but if you're healthy enough to play, you should be healthy enough to make plays. And he didn't make plays today. I still love the dude. I think he's the man. It's just one of those growing pain situations where he needs to work this out. All the confidence in the world that he will work through this and he will get better and he will become the guy that everybody wants him to be. I still look to him to have huge games from here on out of the season. I would put money on it. I just think he's a great dude, great player, phenomenal talent. So let's take a look at next. Actually, let's go and look at some game stats here. Jared Goff threw to 8 different receivers today, which is pretty good. Like I said, he was accurate most of the day, and even when he was not accurate, it was still within the wheelhouse of the receiver. So there was nothing too crazy. Josh Reynolds, he finished with 6 catches and 96 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he finished with 6 catches. He needed 8 receptions today to break a record. No NFL wide receiver. And this is the thing about Amon-Ra St. Brown. He was on the verge of doing things that no other wide receiver had ever done. Nobody's talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown outside of Detroit. Like, there's a few people like, oh, yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think I heard of him. He's doing things that no other receiver has done or hasn't done in a long time. And nobody's giving him the top 10 status. Nobody's giving him a top 15 status. I'm not even sure anybody's giving him a top 20 status. And this dude, week after week, is coming through for us. He finished with 6 receptions, 73 yards. Chark finished with 3 receptions, 46 yards. Again, Chark was involved early in the game. It seems like he kind of disappeared in the second half. Hockenson did end up with 3 receptions for 18 yards and that touchdown. I don't remember seeing Hockenson or Chark getting a catch in the second half. Doesn't mean they didn't. It just means that they were probably insignificant on the drive. We got to talk about the rushing game, though. Jamal Williams rushed for 20 times today for 87 yards, which is a pretty good day. He averaged 4.4 yards a carry, and he had 2 touchdowns. So that's a pretty solid day, but that's mostly because of Swift. Swift, who also had a good day, he rushed 7 times for 31 yards with also a 4.4 yards per carry. Excuse me. Swift has been battling that ankle injury, and he kind of re-aggravated it in the game. So I think they were taking it easy on Swift, but Swift is still performing. When he's in the game, it's like, you're doing pretty good, buddy. So keep up the good work, Swift. Just stay on the field. We need you to stay on the field. These games are going to start going our way, and you're going to be a big part of it. So not that he's watching. Goff also rushed 2 times today for 8 yards, and there was probably 3 or 4 times where I feel like he could have scrambled a little bit more out of the pocket. I would have liked to have seen it. He is an oddball slider. It's like he cannot slide whatsoever. So that was kind of scary, but awkward to see at the same time. Like, you don't want your quarterback to get injured, and it was kind of a weird slide. He kind of tried to slide on his knees, and then he twisted his back, and somebody hit him in the back, and it's like, just trust the slide. If they get the hit on you, like, that's going to be a penalty for us. So, like, just work on your sliding ability, buddy. For Minnesota, Dalvin Cook, he rushed 17 times for 96 yards before getting injured. He was having a really good day. His long of the day was 13 yards. I feel like he was kind of in command of the rushing game until he got injured. So he didn't quite get 100 yards. I want to say the Lions defense contained him enough, but overall, the Vikings rushed for right around 125 yards, I think, 124 yards, something like that. So on defense, Anzalone had a great game. He had 9 tackles, 9 solo tackles, 1 assisted tackle, and 1 sack. He was the only one to get to the quarterback today, according to the score sheet that I am looking at. I was really impressed with him. Rodrigo, he finished with 7 tackles. I saw him make some good stops today. Oruwariye, who was horrible, also got 7 tackles today. But, it's the defensive back, and he was garbage. And I'm sorry, do better. Do better, man. That was awful. I also have to give props to Okudah, who had just 2 tackles, but Jefferson was quiet all day, and there was no penalties. Oh, yeah, there was one penalty on Okudah, but it was just because they declined the penalty against Oruwariye. So, or vice versa. Yeah, no, they declined the penalty against Okudah and gave it to Oruwariye. Okudah, though, he's playing solid pass defense. He's stepping up his game, and it's a 3rd game in a row. I didn't see anything about him going out with cramps or anything like that, so hopefully they've got that worked out. Overall, I would say a solid game by the offense. I would say a less than mediocre game for defense. And I'm just going to keep punching Oruwariye in the face. Get better. So the final was 28-24. Again, Vikings take sole possession of first place pending the Tampa Bay game that's going on right now. I don't know the score of that, but Tampa Bay seemed to have control. It was on just the first drive, though. But let's talk about next week. The Lions take on the Seattle Seahawks and Geno Smith, the quarterback. So far, 2 games. I know they're playing right now, too, so I have no idea how that's going. Man, once you start coughing, you just can't stop. Right now, he's averaging less than 200 yards a game. Geno Smith is. So he's not a formidable passing opponent. I'm not saying take it easy, but I'm saying this is something in our wheelhouse. This should be a win. Rashad Penny is their main running back, who's just averaging 75 yards a game for 2 games so far. So they don't even have a prolific running back. They do have Kenneth Walker III, which I respect him, but they're either not using him or he's not performing the way they need him to be performing right now. So their offense just is not clicking right now. So we need to take advantage of this. Coming off of a loss, we're coming back home next week. This is us to bounce back. So, and looking further into the future, we're playing New England and we're playing Dallas, and then we're playing Miami. And I got to say, between Seattle, New England, and Dallas, those 3 games are very winnable. I would not have said that at the beginning of the season, but Matt Patricia is destroying the New England offense. Destroying. Their offense is in shambles. Very beatable for us. Okay? And then and we'll talk more about this when those games come up, and Dak Prescott and even Ezekiel Elliott is banged up. I don't know what the timeline is for Dak Prescott. I haven't looked into that too much. It just, those games now become winnable with what you've seen from the Lions so far and their offense. They're still scoring more than 21 points. Like they're getting it done. They could have scored more if they converted on some of those field goals. They could have been over 30 points today if they scored on all of those field goals. So the Lions offense is producing. It's their defense. They've got to get it together. I trust Aaron Glenn. I love Rodriguez. I love Okudah, and I love Hutchinson. So these guys are stepping it up. It's the depth. They lack the depth. So they just got to get it together. The defense, though, is allowing roughly 400 yards a game. Seattle's defense is allowing roughly 400 yards a game. So this is telling me that Goff can throw for 250 yards, and the Lions can run for 150 yards on the ground. So they barely beat Denver, the Seahawks did, and they were blown up by San Francisco. So I'm just going to say it right now, the Lions are going to come back. It's going to be a huge win. It's not going to be close. If it's close, I'm going to be irritated. This is a very beatable team. This is a bottom of the league team, and if you want to separate yourself from the bottom, you got to start punching these guys in the face and then kicking them when they're down. So, man, what a frustrating game. I don't like to have this somber attitude. It's always just so much more fun after a win. It was an exciting game nonetheless. Lions had the lead most of the game, and they just didn't close it out. They need to close it out. If they don't want to be the same old Lions, they need to close it out. Quit finding ways to win, or quit finding ways to lose. Can't believe I misspoke there. Now I look like an idiot. All right. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're on Spotify, of course, always find me on Spotify or YouTube. Post-game show, either on the away games, I should be able to do it that day. And for the home games, it's usually the next day. So thanks for watching, subscribing. That way you don't ever miss an episode. You don't ever miss a podcast. I am on all of the social medias. Find me. Look for me. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody.